Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. We are back with another episode of Night of the Lesbian Vampires. Oh my gosh, that's so loud. I'm just gonna turn it down just a little bit. So I was actually really surprised by the response. I mean, this is a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong, but it is a small little game just made for a game jam, and a lot of you like jumped to the comment section to be like, please play Elizabeth's Route, and so I was like, no, I've got like other games that I gotta play for the channel, but then I was like, you know, it's just one little route, like, you know, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play Elizabeth's Route, and I will get it for you on this channel here. I hope that everybody had a happy Halloween. I do apologize that I wasn't able to host like a special stream. It's just been really crazy. I'm in the middle of like making a short film for one of my classes. It is a horror film. When I have more information on it, when that film is finalized, I will share more information about it on this channel. But like, it's just been crazy. I just finished literally like working on homework all day. Like I was working on like storyboards all day long. So this is now the first chance that I kind of get to kick back and play some games, and I'm like very happy about it, but I do apologize if I look really tired. I do look tired. I feel tired. I've got like wrinkles under my eyes, and I was just like, no, you're 24, you're too young for that. But it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we're not gonna say, we don't get to say not drunk lady. That's funny. So we're not gonna let her in. So Elizabeth to me seems like the type of person who is very, she's very, oh my god, I cannot talk. See guys, I told you I was tired. She seems like the type of person that's very put together and prim and proper, so I'm gonna try and kind of play this a little bit colder than I normally would. Like, I full out went with the lady that owns the bar. I mean, yeah, so we're gonna hit on Elizabeth a little bit. I decided to open the door, but would stay inside where I felt safer. With only a bit of hesitation, I opened the door, stepping back, but ready to slam the door closed if they tried anything. They just stood there and didn't dash in like I had feared. Elizabeth smirked. She grabbed hold of Carmela, who looked confused and then very upset.
Don't you dare, you vile!
What? Elizabeth lifted Carmela above the ground as if she weighed nothing and then threw her towards the doorway. Why? Why would you do that? I don't think I like Elizabeth. She scares me. Girl, she just gonna flatten me against a glass door? I expected her to sail through it, but she didn't. I gasped in horror. It was almost like a cartoon. Carmela landed hard against the opening instead of sailing through it like she should have done. That's so mean. Why? What? What did she do to deserve this? I'm sorry. It was like there was an invisible wall there. She slid down and landed on the pavement with an annoyed grunt.
Now do you believe us?
Someone let a body hit the floor. Jesus. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Carmela stood up, but seemed unshaken and uninjured. She glared at Elizabeth.
I'll get you back for that.
I guess I had no choice but to believe them.
Okay, I believe you both. About the vampire thing. That is
I shook my head.
wild.
Wait, that was proof? Wait, I'm sorry.
Please.
I'm confused. Vampires can't go through glass? Right, if they were vampires, they needed blood. However, it would be risky. Our inventories were watched much closer after Claudio was caught stealing, though I was here alone and currently working with inventory files. I could possibly mark 2 bags as contaminated for disposal, and they might not check the numbers too closely, as long as it didn't become a regular thing.
Give me a minute to figure this out.
Okay, so she's gonna go fudge the numbers, blah blah blah. We've been through this before, guys. Someone pressing... Oh my god, wait, I'm so sorry. That's a description for the hearing impaired. That's not, like, them, like... I thought for a second it was keeping track of, like, someone like that, someone like this, someone like that, but no, that's not what it was doing. I smiled awkwardly. Okay, so... They were staring. So then we went and we got a bunch of blood. So we did it. We've been through this before. I'm skipping. Wait, choose who you would like to get to know better. Hi, Elizabeth. Elizabeth cleared her throat.
So, you still got lots of work to do tonight?
I
sort of do.
I keep forgetting this is voice acted.
Put it off until morning. Is that why advice. Yes.
Jeez, Mom, get off my back.
Alice wouldn't want me staying this late all by myself. She'd be worried about my safety.
Well, maybe don't open the door to strangers. Okay. In fact, she specifically told me I should go home about 4 hours ago.
Right. If you're about to leave work anyway, perhaps you'd like to join me for a drink?
I thought about the horror movies that were waiting for me, but how could they hold any appeal against a real-life vampire? Right here! Besides that, she was totally my type. The glasses, the sports jersey. That's a sports jersey? Oh my god, it is. Those adorable freckles. I thought that she was wearing nurse's scrubs. I am so sorry. I thought she was a doctor. I was like, it's a vampire doctor. That's so cool. That's unique. It looked like she was wearing like a, it looks like she's wearing scrubs underneath and like a lab coat over the top. But now I realize that like it doesn't go, all the sleeves don't go down all the way, so it can't be a lab coat. So I really am just that stupid. Okay. I smoothed the shirt I wore under my lab coat down a bit. Clean thoughts, Mina. Come on.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I would like to get a drink. Just let me close everything up.
I love how shiny her eyes get and so bright.
May I come in?
Girl, I don't know. I paused. She noticed my hesitation and lifted her hands innocently.
I'm just curious about the clinic. You can say no. I am happy to wait for you here.
I thought it over for a moment. She had the blood, she seemed friendly, and genuinely curious. There was no inner voice trying to warn me. In fact, it was very adamantly encouraging me.
All right. Come on in. Just don't touch anything. I don't want to get fired.
I waited to see if anything exciting happened when I verbally allowed her inside. I did not. No sparkles or music. She just stepped inside as if the barrier had never been there to begin with, though it clearly had. I tried not to be disappointed. She followed me to the back. Oh my god, wait, that's why Carmela we held open the door, but Carmela can't go in because she wasn't actually invited in. So she just smacked against the invisible barrier. That makes sense. Okay. Quietly taking in everything around her as she walked. Was she looking at me? I was glad I wore my favorite shirt today. Why, those girls just like them dead rats in those brains? Is that how you get women? Asking because I need the help. I sat at the computer and started to close down the software, making sure to save my progress.
This is not at all what I imagined.
What did you imagine?
What did you imagine?
Oh my god.
I guess I thought there would be blood on the floor and restraints to hold people down.
I really don't think I like Elizabeth, you guys. I'm just getting this weird feeling. I looked up at her, horrified. She laughed.
I'm kidding. I just thought it would look more like a hospital. This looks more inviting.
I chuckled. I should not have fallen for that so easily.
I really thought you were serious. Maybe I watched too much horror.
You like horror movies?
Yes, I love them.
What is your favorite one?
I paused and had to take a deep breath. How could I pick?
I always thought vampires were pretty cool.
It felt a bit embarrassing admitting it, but Elizabeth only smiled
The
reassuringly.
movie that came out a few years ago? It's so over the top and cheesy. I love it. I think it's the best adaptation I've seen. There's also the fact I had the same name as one of the iconic characters.
I chuckled. What a funny coincidence. She grinned.
I'm quite fond of that one as well.
Really?
I've always really enjoyed movies.
What's your favorite movie?
She stared at me for a moment and looked away. She seemed to be thinking it over and her brow creased.
I can't pick. The last one I really liked was Romeo and Juliet. It was stylized, and I've always enjoyed takes on Shakespeare.
No, not the one from the 90s. Oh, no. Sweetie, we don't talk about that one.
Were you alive in Shakespeare's time?
Elizabeth laughed and shook her head.
No. Oh, wow. Do I really seem that old?
I thought all vampires were hundreds of years old.
I shrugged and rubbed my palms on my pants.
I am probably only a few years older than you, actually.
So you're a new vampire?
Basically. Are you disappointed? I was only turned a few years ago, just before I finished my bachelor's.
Bummer.
No, of course not. It's just interesting to learn more about you.
Her eyes widened a bit and she turned
What
away.
did you study in college?
Marine biology. I'm working on my master's degree currently.
Oh, damn. Okay, master's student. I like that. I like
Wow.
that. I like that. Okay.
Cool. What are you planning to do after you graduate?
Swim with whales.
I'd like to be a professor or focus on ocean life research.
She wants to swim with whales. She's lying.
Sharks.
Sharks?
She wants to create a beloved children's television show using her knowledge about marine biology and also scraping together her drawing and artistic skills. It will be a long-running, lasting hit on Nickelodeon. Like Jaws, but I didn't say that. I'd heard the movie wasn't popular among marine biologists because of the backlash it had created against sharks. Oh my god, guys. I could talk about, like, what Jaws did to sharks forever and about, like, responsibilities, I guess, of filmmakers when making movies and when writing movies. Jaws is a wonderful film, like, stylistically, artistically, script-wise. It was a groundbreaking film for its time. But honestly, like, Jaws has also done some really bad things and has inspired, like, a lot of backlash against sharks and all the copycats that kind of followed after Jaws, or not copycats, that would be not nice to say, but, like, all the people that followed after in the shark genre. Like, it really created a bad reputation against sharks, and spread a ton of myths about sharks and contributed to the declining population of sharks. There's a lot to go into it. Her eyes lit up, and I could tell it was something she was passionate about.
You know that sharks have skin that feels like sandpaper?
Yes, I actually did know that.
Would be my favorite. There is still a lot we don't know, though. Like, they will eat anything, even license plates. Goblin sharks are not only pink, but they are also considered living fossils. They were thought to be extinct until 1898.
What? Guys, a goblin... Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. We are an educational channel. We are an educational channel. Goblin shark. You are so ugly. Look at you. Look at how ugly you are. Look at you. You're so ugly. Oh my god. He's so ugly. Look at him. Wow. How are you alive? He's so gross. I love him. Oh my god, I want like a goblin shark like stuffy or something, like stuffed animal.
Sharks have existed practically unchanged for something like 400 million years. Can you imagine?
I mean, I wouldn't expect them to evolve that much because, like, why change something if it's not broke, why change it? You know what I'm saying? I shut the computer off and took out the keys to lock up.
Done here. So, where did you want to get a drink? I'd love to hear more shark facts.
We'd love to hear more shark facts. She was so smart. I loved listening to her talk and really wanted to hear more. I'd never known anyone who was into marine biology before. And also wore sports jerseys.
Don't tell Carmilla I said that.
She pushed her glasses up her nose and grinned. I wasn't sure why I would tell Carmilla or why it would matter if I did, but I was happy to oblige. Okay, so we're gonna go to the bar. We headed outside. I locked up and Elizabeth got us a cab to a bar, Bloodlust. I'd never gone inside before, but I heard plenty of rumors. Mostly about it being a gay bar, but now I wondered if there was more to it than that. This is the same bar. It's fine. They probably couldn't make a new asset. It's fine. It was pretty crowded inside, but she managed to lead me to a quiet corner. It had a really quiet, nice atmosphere, though.
Place is nice.
Yeah.
I won't tell Carmilla.
What?
Because you said I shouldn't,
Right, yeah.
Isn't this her... Isn't now playing grunge? Oh. We fell into an awkward silence filled by loud alternative music. I had suddenly forgotten how to hold a conversation. I'd never been good at dating, and it had been a long time since I'd been on one. I tried to think of something really smooth to say, but couldn't manage it.
I like this song.
She pointed at the ceiling.
yeah, great.
She smiled and glanced at the bar.
I'll let me buy you a drink. What would you like?
Good idea. Something to do with my hands right now might help me calm down.
I'll have,
A painkiller? Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's my go-to drink.
They're very pretty to look at. Not very... Alright, I'll be back with a drink.
Okay, so I got the Tequila Sunrise instead. Okay, so... Shell Tequila Sunrise and nothing else. I suppose vampires only drink blood. She returned and handed me the drink. I took a careful sip. It tasted great. She shrugged as if it was no big deal.
I know the bartender.
That might explain why she didn't have to wait as long as everyone else who were all gathered around the bar.
That's cool.
Oh, so she flaunts that social status, I see. Now's your chance to get to know her. Just think of a really insightful question
I don't
and...
want you to think I come here all the time or anything.
Huh?
Huh?
I mean, I like bars. You know, every now and then. But I prefer a quiet evening at home, you know?
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I was not suggesting anything. I don't know why you brought that up.
Oh yeah. I like to watch horror movies, order takeout, and hang out with my rats.
She grinned at me. I kind of had a feeling that this wasn't her typical hang-up, but I didn't want to say anything.
I didn't know rats were a common pet.
Yes?
They are actually the best pet. They are wicked smart, and you can train them like a dog. They can play fetch and run obstacle courses. Also, hamsters are assholes.
They really are, though. Hamsters are awful. But you know what I don't like even more? Guinea pigs. Guinea pigs just make a shit ton of sound for, like, no reason. I'm like, this is why in the wild you would die. She burst out laughing, covering her mouth, perhaps to hide her fangs.
Are they really?
You are way more likely to be bitten by a hamster than a rat.
Do
Interesting.
you have science to back this up?
She smiled as she said it, and I couldn't help but notice how attractive she was when she was amused.
Not really, just personal experience. Rats are seriously underrated though. Mine are so sweet and cuddly.
I did not need to go into the evil hamster I had as a pet when I was a kid. I'm sure some of them were actually cute and nice, but I need to see it to believe
trust
it.
you. I'd love to meet them sometime, if that's all right. See for myself.
So, something I want to point out about this character design, I'm kind of like, I'm also not really registering that she is wearing a sports jersey because, like, look at her glasses and how, like, nice those are and how sleek those are. She's wearing earrings that she's, like, and they're, like, very small, like, not super sporty earrings, and you would think that, like, a sporty person wouldn't wear earrings as much. Also, her hair is done up in a bun. So, I don't know. I feel like interesting character design. A little, I think, contradictory if they're trying to present her as the sporty girl. I wonder why they chose hair in a bun instead of maybe, like, keeping her
Totally.
hair short or giving her, like, a soft butch kind of look. I don't know. I cleared my throat and tried to play it cool. I took another drink and tried to think of something not uncool to say. Elizabeth spoke before I could.
What else do you like? Besides rats and horror movies?
Pretty girls with freckles? She smirked and took a few small steps closer to me, probably to hear me better. The music was pretty loud. Musicals.
I like musicals.
Huh. She grinned and took another step closer. She reached over and tucked a stray hair behind my ear. She was so close I could smell coconuts. Was it her shampoo?
I'd really like to kiss you, if that's okay.
Sure, why not? I'm fine, I'm game. She glanced down my lips and I felt my heart go from racing to full-on panic. I nodded. That was definitely okay. She leaned in to kiss me and I wrapped my arms around her shoulders. My mind went blank as I felt the brush of her fingers under the fabric of my shirt. Whoa, girl, I said you could kiss me. Back off. Put your hands away. We kissed until I felt like my knees would give out, and then I pulled away. She began to kiss my cheek and then nibbled on my earlobe. Oh my god, is this woman gonna eat me? I gasped with the way it felt and suddenly wondered if there were eyes on us. If there were, did I care? I felt the wetness of a tongue on my throat, and that stopped me cold. I tensed, desperately anticipating what might come next, but Elizabeth pulled away.
Oh, I wasn't going to bite you.
Mm-hmm. Were you? She looked concerned. Maybe she thought my reaction was from fear? I smoothed down my shirt. I could still feel the gentle way she had caressed me.
Did you want me to?
No?
Oh,
At that moment, I had, which was a bit odd. I'd never wanted someone to bite me before. Was it because I knew she was a vampire?
I can if you'd like.
I felt my face grow incredibly hot. Now it just felt awkward still.
would it hurt?
It only hurts for a moment at first, and then it actually feels pretty nice.
She pushed her glasses up the bridge of her nose.
I believe something in the fangs or saliva activates when it's mixed with blood that causes a euphoric effect, similar to morphine.
Oh,
Computer, you leave that message alone. That was fascinating. Were their fangs hollow? Was it a chemical in their saliva?
Additionally, the saliva causes the blood to be thinned, so it flows easier. However, if I lick the wound, it'll close quicker than normal.
what an interesting reaction.
I know. I'd like to study it, but most vampires don't really care about the phenomena. They're just happy it works. They tell me to just pretend it's magic. Ha!
Oh, I wonder if it's like leeches or ticks.
She made a face.
Yeah.
She chuckled and blushed, rubbing the back of her neck.
Not great date talk, huh?
Oh, it's fine.
We both fell quiet, and I found myself looking at her lips again. I should resist. I wanted to talk to her more. Who knows if I would ever be near a vampire again.
I'm actually very curious about vampires.
I'm actually very curious.
You have a question?
Can you really not enter a place without permission?
She nodded.
You saw for yourself.
When you threw Carmilla?
I chuckled, remembering the way she had looked squished against an invisible barrier.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I can't explain the science behind that either.
Fascinating.
Can you go out during the day?
No, I would burst into fire. Then I would turn into ash. At least, that is what I've been told. I've never seen it, and I don't want to test it.
I don't blame you.
It was almost as if I found a kindred spirit, someone to discuss things scientifically with, and who didn't mind when I rambled about things. She rambled too, but I enjoyed it. We spent most of the night talking. She told me about vampire squids and jellyfish. I told her about obscure, underrated horror movies. It was exhilarating to speak so passionately with her about things we loved. Eventually, I started to feel my entire body screaming at me to sleep. I knew I needed to get home, even if I didn't want the night to end. I finally had to say my goodbyes and head home. I really hoped I would get to see her again. Oh shit! Wait, what? We didn't get to hit that? Oh, we got to hit that. I was staying late to do paperwork again this Halloween, but this time I had someone keeping me company.
This software's interface looks so ugly.
I know, I hate it when like you look at like a program and the interface is like uglier. It looks like it's freaking Windows 95. It's like, really?
Likes it.
She gave up on looking over my shoulder and began to pace around the room. She looked everything over. She was careful not to disturb anything, but no matter how many times she had been here, she remained curious. It was probably the scientist in her. When I thought she wouldn't notice, I glanced up to watch her. Normally being around her was relaxing. This past year we had grown comfortably close. However, tonight was very different. I wanted to ask her to move in with me. I'd even gone out and bought some heavy curtains and blinds. She might say no, though. Maybe it was too soon. Maybe not. Ah!
Are you alright? You look really frustrated.
I'm very flushed.
Yeah.
I tried to smile. She turned away to look at some safety signs we had hanging up.
This place doesn't pay you very well, does it?
I snorted. There were some months where I struggled, but I made do. She knew that. As a student, even a vampire student, she was in a very similar situation. She did have a part-time job as a research assistant and sometimes worked in the university's library. It paid about as well as my job, though.
I was thinking,
Yeah?
between my income and your income,
I stopped what I was doing and gave her my full attention. She pulled absently at her ear.
I was just thinking it might be beneficial if we moved in together.
I couldn't believe it. I stared at her, mouth hanging open. I've been so nervous for so long, and she came right out and said it.
Oh, I guess that wasn't a very romantic way to put it. There are romantic intentions as well, of course. This past year with you it's been just amazing. I like the idea
Aw,
of waking up
that's
together
very
and
sweet.
having meals together.
Oh, she likes waking up and having meals with us.
I think so.
Oh, okay. I smiled. She was frowning. I needed to explain. I hadn't meant to give her the impression that I wasn't fully on board with the idea.
No, it's just that I was actually planning to ask you the same thing tonight.
Really? To move in together?
Oh, her voice gets all soft. She closed the distance between us and bent down to meet my gaze where I sat at the computer. The gloom she had earlier was completely gone. I turned away from the computer, wanting to face her fully.
Great minds, huh?
She kissed me gently and then pulled away.
I don't want to start. I know you have a lot of work to do.
I shook my head. If the equipment wasn't so expensive, I'd shove it off the desk to prove that I would choose her over work. Instead, I saved and shut down the software in a less dramatic gesture.
Done with work.
I shut the computer down and stepped away from the desk. I grabbed the keys so I could lock it the places I went. Then I turned to Elizabeth and clapped my hands together awkwardly. I took off my lab coat and she followed me to the waiting area of the clinic.
Will you sleep in my coffin with me?
You don't have a coffin? I squeaked. I looked over at her, and I knew she had tricked me again. She laughed. I should have known better. I had been to her apartment, and there was a normal bed. I laughed with her.
I don't know. Maybe they're comfortable.
It's too morbid to even think about.
She shuddered, though she was still laughing.
I was also thinking, if you ever wanted to be a vampire too.
I reached for the door, but stopped. My hand hovered near the handle. It was something I had considered before. She was a vampire and I was a human. How long could that possibly go on? I would age and she would stay the same. I needed human food and she only required blood. There were benefits to being a vampire, but there were drawbacks too. There have been so many things to consider and always been something we avoided discussing before. Something that would occasionally hang over us, creating an awkward silence. I answered carefully, because in truth I didn't really know what I thought about it all yet.
Yeah? I would turn you into a vampire if you asked.
Oh, if I asked. I studied her expression. Did she want me to be a vampire? Did she like me better as a human?
I'm glad you would, but what do you think? Would you like me better if I was like you?
She shook her head and stepped closer to me.
I adore you the way you are, and that wouldn't change if you become a vampire.
Aww.
I will be happy if you are happy. It's also your body and your choice. I won't take that from you. I only offer so that you know that I'm willing.
What is this thing on the side of her face, by the way? Is that like a bandage, or is that like just a shine? I threw my arms around her. She always seemed to know what to say. She kissed the side of my head and took a deep breath.
I want to think about it more.
I pulled away so that I could look at her.
Consider things carefully. Weigh the benefits against the negatives, you know?
How scientific. I approve.
She smiled at me and I resumed prepping the door so that we could leave.
I figured you would.
I chuckled. I locked the door and we headed out into the night. I had found something in Elizabeth that was rare and precious. We had a connection that I always dreamed of. I loved her in a way that I had not thought possible. Someone who truly accepted me and appreciated the things in me that others found annoying. In turn, I felt the same way about her. Hand in hand, we headed home to our home. Oh, that's sweet. So that's really kind of cool. So you have like a different ending depending on the personality of the person that you're with. So it kind of makes sense that like with Carmela, who is very much kind of like this whirlwind sort of person, that you would get swept up with her and in like a year you'd be willing to be a vampire. But because you and Elizabeth are both so kind of, because you and Elizabeth are both so sort of like scientific and very like cautious and calculating, you're not likely to kind of jump into that relationship right away. So I thought that that was kind of cool. I thought that that was kind of a neat take. So even if you have a happy ending, it's definitely different. So ignore the hamster hate. I'm sorry if you have a hamster and you watch this and you were offended. I'm really sorry. But anyways, that brings us to the conclusion of Night of the Lesbian Vampires. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like down below. It really does help the channel out. Also consider subscribing to the channel because we are going to be playing even scarier, spookier games. That's right, folks. Even though October Spooktober month is over, I have got some more horror games to play on the channel. So if you're interested in watching me cry, scream, or really just yell expletives as I try to meander my way through really difficult puzzles, you should really subscribe to this channel. Without further ado, thank you all so much for watching. Bye! Special shout out to Patreons AceWolf741, Deep Dive Dylan, Brian White, Caleb Putnam, and Robin Harper.